Yet another location has approved Microsoft's purchase of Activision Blizzard. This happened this afternoon, so let's talk about what they had to say in the approval and some comments that they made right now. So the most recent location to approve the deal is Chile. Now, we're going to hop on over to the website fne.gov.cl, and I like to make sure that I'm in the right location. I'll make this just a little bit. It's not fitting in the box quite how I want. Let me just, here's what we're going to do. For this video, we'll make me a little bit smaller so that the story can have the centerpiece. Just this one time. But anyway, the Fiscalia Nacional. Anyway, it's the National Competition Authority responsible for defending and promoting competition in all markets or productive sectors of the Chilean economy. The Law for the Defense of Competition, DL 211, establishes that the FNE is a decentralized public entity with legal personality and assets of its own, independent from any other entity or service, and subject to the supervision of the President of the Republic through the Ministry of Economy, Development, and Tourism. So I guess if you want to change this, you would send a letter to the President of Chile. that would be a new one. So here's what they say about their approval of the Activision Blizzard purchase, which has been approved. And they had a few notes here. The FNE approved in phase 1 the merger operation consisting, just a disclaimer, this is all just translated from Google Translate. So if it's a little off or whatever, I'm just using the Google Translate translator. But I feel like that should be noted. The context is the same. The deal is approved. The FNE approved in phase 1 the merger operation consisting of the acquisition of control of Activision Blizzard Inc. by Microsoft Corporation after ruling out that it is apt to substantially reduce competition. So they have determined that there is little to no chance that this merger could possibly reduce competition. It's just not going to happen. And you know what? While we're on the full screen here, thank you so much for watching. Please consider hitting that subscribe button, hitting that bell. I'm trying to get 100,000 subscribers. I'm really, really close to 90. Half of you aren't subscribed. So if you hit that subscribe button right now, I would hit the 90,000 goal. And if you keep subscribing, if half of you subscribe, just the viewers of this video, the half of you that aren't subscribed, I would hit the goal of 100,000 today. So thank you so much for watching so far. Let's continue on the letter. These companies carry out activities in the same segments, development, publication, and distribution of video games, and on different levels, with Microsoft producing the Xbox console and other video game platforms, such as Game Pass, whereby their activities overlap both horizontally and vertically. The prosecutor's office considered that the operation was not suitable to substantially reduce competition, considering, among other evidence, patterns and preferences of video game consumers in Chile. So they looked at what consumers were doing, how they were purchasing games, and they thought, well, if Microsoft buys Activision, is that negatively going to impact consumers? No, they can still get Call of Duty on PlayStation. They'll have another way to purchase it using Game Pass. Seems great to us, which is what the FTC probably should have done. Anyway, in its analysis of horizontal effects, the investigation ruled out risks, considering that in the markets where the parties overlap their activities, development and publishing of video games, distribution of computer video games, and sale of merchandising and digital graphic advertising, the limits were not exceeded. Market concentration thresholds established in 2022 Horizontal Concentration Operations Analysis Guide, and that a large number of relevant competitors and dynamic market were observed. They're just saying there's a lot of players in the space. This merger is not going to have a significant impact on competition. People are still going to be able to compete. We are not worried about it whatsoever. In the vertical risk assessment, the eventual blocking of inputs was ruled out, consisting of Microsoft, after acquiring Activision Blizzard, ceasing to provide games like Call of Duty to its competitors. This considering, among other arguments, that Activision Blizzard faces competitive pressure from players such as Electronic Arts, Take-Two, Ubisoft, and Epic Games, Sony, and Nintendo, and that the relevance of Call of Duty would be comparatively less in Latin America than in other regions of the world. That's really interesting. It's like I'm reading Sanity for the first time through all these documents. They're just saying, you know what? If Microsoft decided to like make Call of Duty worse, there's tons of competitors in the market. There's Electronic Arts, Take-Two, Ubisoft, Epic, Sony, and Nintendo, right? There's other players in the game that could come along and make something that would kick Call of Duty out of the market forever, especially if Activision said, yeah, you know what? We're going to, or Microsoft said, we're going to make Call of Duty worse or limit the platforms that it's available on. They're like, well, then one of these other companies are going to come along, release something multi-platform and potentially crush. Like it just makes sense, right? There's no incentive for Microsoft to make Call of Duty worse. And they've made it very clear that they have no incentive to even withhold it from other platforms because of how the communities are intertwined. So let's continue on in the document. It was also considered that the number of consumers who would prefer to change the console in the face of a blocking strategy would also be lower, which was verified through a survey carried out with Chilean consumers, and that the significant income generated by PlayStation in favor of Activision Blizzard would discourage adoption of a blocking strategy. It's just like, it's so refreshing. So they asked the people if they would switch consoles if Call of Duty were to go exclusive, right? And how people felt about it. They just asked their people and they answered the question, and they got reasonable responses. And they also said it doesn't make a lot of sense for Microsoft to throw away $1 billion by blocking it from PlayStation. Like, sure, they could do that, but that would be pretty stupid. So they're like, yeah, sure. Like they have no incentive to make that change, right? In its analysis, the FNE also ruled out the risks of tipping in the market of next-generation consoles and in subscription services such as Game Pass, since Activision Blizzard's video games, although important, are not the most relevant for game consumers. Latin America, and that the players in this market offer highly differentiated services. If anybody watches who lives in Chile or the Chile market, I would love to know Chilean. Sorry, I don't mean to mean like the food. Like I think would be Chilean. Anyway, let me know. Is Call of Duty not popular there? I'd be surprised to hear that, but I would love to know your thoughts, especially if you live there. And I love how they really interacted with the consumers, the people who would actually be impacted by this. Tipping occurs when once a certain scale of operation is exceeded, the markets tend to concentrate and eventually close under a single dominant actor. In relation to a possible risk of blocking customers, the prosecutor's office concluded that Microsoft will not stop demanding video games published by third parties, since the computer video game distribution market has shown significant dynamism. Oh my goodness. Dynamism. Google translated dynamism. Wow. Okay. With the entry of new relevant players, highlighting the leading position held by Steam. Steam is mainly third party, and they're probably one of the market leaders. So they're like, well, Steam has all third party. Why would Microsoft suddenly not allow third-party games? On the other hand, in the video game distribution market for consoles, there is significant competitive pressure from Sony and Nintendo, which would discipline the recruiting entity and would operate as a relevant substitute client for competing publishers, including various players, and some of them are particularly relevant. Let me read that again. On the other hand, in the video game distribution market for consoles, there is significant competitive pressure from Sony and Nintendo. So both PlayStation and Nintendo are pressuring Xbox, which would discipline the resulting entity and would operate as a relevant substitute client for competing publishers, including various players. So basically, if Microsoft decided to lock it down or block third parties or do anything, they still have PlayStation and Nintendo to go to, which is more than enough incentive for Microsoft not to make anything exclusive. So they approved it. And then the parts. Microsoft operates worldwide developing activities in different technological segments. To analyze this merger, it is important to consider that Microsoft develops, publishes, and distributes video games for computers, consoles, and mobile devices, markets the Xbox console, which includes different generations of said device that have been released to date, and is also engaged in activities related to digital display advertising. 3 offers a subscription service to video game catalogs of its own development and those of third parties and the cloud gaming functionality. And 4 develops and sells the Windows operating system and software. Activision Blizzard is dedicated to the development of publishing video games for computers, consoles, and mobile devices through 3 business units that corresponded to Activision Publishing Inc., Blizzard Entertainment Inc., and King Digital Entertainment. Among the main titles marketed by Activision Blizzard, Call of Duty stands out in addition to other games such as Crash Bandicoot, World of Warcraft, and Candy Crush. The respective report and resolution will be available via the web in coming days, so we can cover that in a few days once the confidentiality claims of the notifying parties are present and have been resolved. But the long and the short of it is approved. So Chile is now allowing the purchase to complete. And let's talk about a few of the other locations where this has also been approved. It's been approved in Brazil. Brazil has improved it. See now my camera, it's like all weird because Forbes has like this is called negative space in design. And look how much they have all this negative space that they just waste. They just waste all this negative space. Maybe it's because I'm zoomed in. No. Oh, there it goes. There you go, Forbes. Like, why is your website designed like that? Anyway, what's my scale there? It's 200% for it to format properly. Anyway, so Brazil has approved it. Saudi Arabia has approved Microsoft Activision Blizzard acquisition. And Serbia has approved the acquisition. And all these places, I believe there were no concessions made. Yeah, I don't believe there were any concessions made. And I want to get ahead of this because I've seen this mentioned to me a few times. Japan and Chile both approving the Activision Blizzard King acquisition. Japan has not approved anything yet. There is no public documentation. That is a rumor. That is speculation that is being approved. There is nothing to indicate it has been approved. As a matter of fact, if you go to the website, you can actually see in English, nothing's been posted since the 15th. On the English website, it's about whatever that thing is. And in Japanese, nothing has been posted since the 27th. And if we use Google Translate, we know that post is nothing to do with Microsoft. I am keeping an eye on it, but right now that is just a rumor. I don't know why people think it was approved in Japan, but we could be getting news in the coming days. Here's where it's coming from. I think this is Monday at 6:09 a.m. MLEX has a new report about the review process in Japan. It's believed that the deal has yet to be formally notified in June 2022. That's correct. They asked for more for their phase 1 review. There hasn't been an uproar against the planned merger from Japanese gaming company or industry. The JFTC hasn't blocked a deal in decades and usually accepts behavioral remedies if there are any needed. According to the 2022 CESA Games White Paper published in August 2022, Nintendo has 74.8 in Japan, Sony 23.4, and Microsoft has 1.8. I don't think that it's going to get blocked in Japan. They just don't have the market share in Japan for anybody to care. And like if that user wasn't enough, Derek Strickland had come to the same conclusion I did. He works over at Tweaktown, and he had also looked at the Japanese website and like, there's nothing here. We're not going to report that Japan approved something because we don't know yet. So if you're seeing the Japan thing go around, hold your horses. When that happens, I'll be making a video about it. And if you found this informative, and you're still watching right now, you know that I'm trying to hit 100,000 subscribers. If the 50% of people watching this video clicked subscribe right now, I would hit my goal today. So please hit subscribe. We are that close today to hitting already 90,000 subscribers. So thank you so much for watching, everybody. Thank you to the members. And I updated the list in the last video, so everybody is here now. Thank you. If you want to become a member, I post these videos without ads, and the amount that you become a member at is up to you. It can be the lowest amount or the highest amount, and you get access to all my videos with no ads. So thank you for watching. Click that join button right down there. I'm going to get out of here because it's the afternoon, and I'll see you for the next one. Bye for now, everybody.